The Galactic Council had faced many threats over the centuries. Wars had come and gone. New species had risen and fallen. Yet nothing, not even the most advanced fleets of the Andori or the Crixian empires, had ever made the Council tremble in uncertainty. Until today. It began with a ripple across the farthest edges of the galaxy. Sensors aboard Council observation posts detected something unusual. At first, it seemed like a natural phenomenon. A wave of dark energy pulsed through the void. But as the minutes passed, it became clear this was no star being born, no collapsing nebula. This was something alive, moving with purpose. Something intelligent. Something human. The first warships appeared at the borders of the outer systems. They were enormous, far larger than any known vessel in the galaxy. Their hulls were black as the void, but more than that, they shimmered, bending light, twisting it in ways that made the sensors scream in confusion. Energy readings were impossible to calculate. Every scanner that tried to measure their mass, their propulsion, or their weapons came back empty, as if the ships existed only in shadows. The technology was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. And yet, the design was oddly elegant. Angular lines met smooth curves, forming a shape both alien and familiar. The Council convened an emergency meeting. Ambassadors from dozens of species crowded into the chamber. The massive hall, suspended in orbit around a neutral star, buzzed with tension. The air was thick with fear, speculation, and disbelief. Screens displayed the readings, or rather, the lack of them. "We cannot see them properly," one Andori delegate hissed. "Our sensors fail. They move, but we cannot predict their trajectory. It is impossible." A Crixian ambassador slammed his clawed hand against the table. "Impossible or not, we must act. If they reach the inner systems before we prepare, our fleets will be destroyed. I demand a strike." A murmur ran through the room. Many agreed with him. Fear made even the calmest species sharp and restless. Yet not everyone wanted aggression. An elderly ambassador from the Valen sector rose slowly. Her skin was silver, her eyes glinting like polished obsidian. "We do not know who they are," she said in a voice that carried more weight than her words. "We do not know their intentions. Attack may be our greatest mistake." The chamber fell silent. Even the Crixian paused, claws gripping the edge of the table, breathing heavily. A younger delegate from the Corin Alliance, barely old enough to command respect in the Council, spoke next. "I've studied their history. Humans were thought extinct. They vanished long before the first great war between the Solari and the Valens. Some believed them weak. Some believed them scattered. And yet here they are. Stronger than anything we have encountered. Smarter. Patient. And they bring this." He gestured to the display, where the dark matter warships shimmered in their impossible patterns. "We do not understand them, but we should fear them." Outside the Council chambers, the galaxy watched in silence. Every species, every fleet, every explorer who happened to be near the outer systems noticed the ships. Rumors spread faster than light itself. "They are ghosts," some said. "They are gods," others whispered. Some laughed, thinking this was an exaggeration or a hoax. Yet when a human scout vessel moved past a Crixian monitoring station and left the entire system without a single transmission, without a single scan returning, fear became reality. The humans did not speak. They did not send messages. Not a single word came from the vast fleet that now drifted silently, deliberately, through the outer systems. Their presence alone was a warning. It was as if the ships themselves were alive, aware, and patient. 4 days, the Council debated. Strategies were drawn, redrawn, and discarded. Every plan seemed irrelevant against a force whose movement was unreadable, whose strength was unknown. Fleets were mobilized, then paused, then recalled. Diplomats tried to send messages, but there was no response. It was as if humanity was observing them, letting the galaxy squirm under its gaze. In the meantime, the warships moved closer. Sensors began picking up strange phenomena. Entire star systems appeared distorted near the fleet. Time readings fluctuated. Gravity bent in ways that made even veteran scientists question their understanding of physics. It was not merely a display of force. It was a demonstration of power beyond comprehension. The humans could bend reality, or at least, manipulate its very fabric. In one council chamber, the Valen elder shook her head slowly. "They are not reckless," she said softly. "They do not attack without purpose. Their silence, it is not weakness. It is a test." A younger Andori delegate frowned. "A test? What kind of test? Are we being measured? Are our fleets being evaluated? Or are they deciding who lives and who dies?" The elder did not answer immediately. She only looked at the holographic display of the dark matter warships. Then she spoke, quietly but with undeniable clarity. "I believe they are waiting for us to show ourselves, to make a move. And whatever we do next, it will decide our place in the galaxy." Meanwhile, in the cold darkness of space, humans watched. In the command bridge of the flagship, the captain remained calm. Unlike the panicked council, unlike the frantic fleets, there was no chatter, no arguing, no hesitation. A small team of officers moved efficiently, checking systems that no alien scanner could hope to understand. The ships hummed with energy, dark matter flowing like liquid shadows through their cores. Every movement was precise, controlled, deliberate. Every captain, every navigator, every crew member knew their role. And yet, there was no malice. There was no urgency. There was only presence. A quiet, almost serene assertion of strength. The galaxy would learn soon enough that humans were not merely strong, they were patient, calculating, and utterly unafraid of the unknown. Back at the council, fear reached a tipping point. The Crixian ambassador stood, claws raised. "We cannot wait any longer. We must attack. Our fleets are ready. Strike them before they reach the inner systems." The Valen elder raised a hand, silencing the room. "And if we fail?" she asked. "Do you think your fleets can survive what they cannot even measure? Do you believe your weapons can strike that which bends reality?" The chamber fell silent again. Even the most aggressive species could feel the weight of her words. There was no answer, only the hum of communication networks, the soft clicks of devices scanning for something that could not be scanned. In the void, the dark matter warships drifted closer. Each ship seemed to communicate in a language of shadows and energy, a language only humans understood. Sensors detected faint pulses of energy, almost like a heartbeat, but not quite. It was deliberate, controlled, and alive. The galaxy had never witnessed such a thing. Rumors among the fleets grew. Some whispered that humans had developed technology to move entire star systems. Others claimed the ships could erase planets from existence without a shot fired. The truth, as always, was stranger. Humans had built weapons of unimaginable power, yes, but they also had patience. They did not rush. They did not show emotion. They waited, silent and resolute. As the council debated their next move, an Andori pilot in a distant patrol fleet spoke into the comms, voice trembling. I don't know how to explain this. The humans, they are not moving like ships. They are present. It feels like they are everywhere, yet nowhere. Like the galaxy itself obeys them." The council listened to the report, and fear grew heavier in their hearts. The words confirmed what the scientists already suspected: humans were unlike any species ever encountered. They were stronger than the legends, more cunning than the myths, and more patient than the oldest species in the galaxy could understand. By the time the council convened again, a single realization spread like wildfire through the chamber. Humans were not coming to negotiate. They were not here to trade. They were here to exist, and in their existence alone, they commanded respect, fear, and awe. One young Corran delegate, unable to hide his trembling voice, whispered to a colleague, Do you think they could destroy us all if they wanted?" The elder Valen, silver eyes glinting, replied quietly, almost mournfully, "Yes. And yet, they do not. Not yet. That is what makes them terrifying. That is what makes them human." The council fell into tense silence once again. Outside, the warships moved slowly, methodically, as though the void itself had been theirs to command. There were no transmissions, no threats, no gestures of hostility, only the presence of a force far beyond comprehension. The entire galaxy held its breath, waiting, knowing that the arrival of humans would change everything. And for the first time in recorded history, the Galactic Council understood fear. Not the fear of death. Not the fear of defeat. The fear of the unknown. The fear of humans. As night fell on the council station, and stars sparkled cold and distant in the void, the last words of the assembly echoed softly through the chamber. We do not understand them, but we fear them. Somewhere beyond the outer systems, humans remained silent, watching, waiting, ready. Their warships glowed faintly with dark matter energy, twisting the very fabric of space around them. They had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The silence of the galaxy was broken by a single transmission, fractured and barely intelligible. It came from the edge of human-occupied space, a desperate message from a lone scout fleet sent by the Crixian Empire. The words, garbled and stuttering, carried through the comms like a warning from the void itself. Do not approach, impossible, cannot survive. Then the transmission ended abruptly, leaving nothing but static. Every species listening recoiled. The council had been uneasy, yes, but now fear became real. Panic rippled across star systems like a supernova shockwave. Fleet commanders scrambled to understand, but there were no patterns, no explanations. Scout ships that dared come close to the human dark matter warships vanished without a trace. Entire systems reported empty space where ships had once been. No wreckage. No debris. Nothing. It was as if humans had the power to erase existence itself. The council convened again, the urgency thicker than ever. Alien ambassadors crowded the holographic chamber, faces pale with worry. The young Corran delegate, who had spoken with trembling in Part 1, now seemed on the verge of panic. They are testing us, he whispered. They do not even need to fight. They can destroy fleets without touching them. The Andori ambassador banged her clawed fist on the table, her voice raw with frustration. Then why wait? Why not strike while they are still at the edge of our systems? The Valen elder's silver eyes glinted coldly. Because we do not understand them. Every fleet we send, every move we make, will be judged. They watch. They calculate. Our arrogance could cost billions of lives. Outside the council halls, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The dark matter warships moved with deliberate patience. Sensors could detect the ships, yes, but readings made no sense. Gravity twisted near them. Time fluctuated. A patrol fleet that ventured too close reported feeling seconds stretch into minutes, minutes into hours. Crew members became disoriented, some unable to speak, others weeping quietly in fear as their instruments failed. One scout vessel, piloted by a young Crixian named Varek, drifted silently toward a cluster of human ships. He had been chosen for his bravery, or perhaps for his recklessness. His orders were clear: gather data. Do not engage. Return. Yet as he approached, the universe seemed to shift around him. The stars outside the viewport shimmered and warped. The dark hulls of the human warships glowed faintly, and in that glow, he swore he saw shapes moving inside, humans, but not as beings of flesh alone. Something about them radiated intelligence far beyond mortal comprehension, something ancient, patient, unyielding. Varek's hands trembled on the controls. They are aware, he whispered. They know we are here. They know everything. His voice quavered as he tried to report to command. Static swallowed his words. The control screens flickered violently, displaying readings he could not comprehend. Gravitational spikes, energy flows bending like liquid shadow, and systems behaving as if obeying some invisible command. Then, the impossible happened. His ship vanished. One moment he was moving, steady and cautious, the next, he was gone. Sensors detected a tiny pulse of energy, then nothing. Communication was lost. The fleet back at the monitoring station waited in dread, but nothing came. No wreckage, no distress signal, nothing. Only the emptiness of space where Varek's vessel had been. Panic spread like wildfire. Fleet commanders argued and shouted, but no solution emerged. They were facing a species whose technology defied every law they knew. And yet, humans had not fired a single weapon. Not once. Not even a warning salvo. Their strength lay not in aggression, but in presence, in the absolute certainty of what they could do. The galaxy understood something critical. Humanity did not need to fight to win. At the council, the mood darkened. Ambassadors argued, but no one could muster courage enough to advocate for a direct attack. Fear had silenced ambition. The young Corran delegate stood, pale and shaken, pointing at the holomap where human ships hovered like shadows. "Do you see them?" he said. "Our fleets are toys. They're ships, they bend the very universe. Every move we make, every plan we craft, is already anticipated. We cannot beat them. We cannot even survive them. And yet, they do not speak. They do not attack. Why?" A murmur of agreement swept through the chamber. Even the most hardened delegates felt it in their bones. Humans were not reckless conquerors. They were patient hunters, watching, learning, deciding. And the thought of provoking them was unbearable. Back in space, the vanished scout ship was not destroyed. It had been captured in a way no one could explain. Sensors outside recorded faint energy traces, a heartbeat of dark matter pulsing through the void. Inside the ship, the crew experienced time differently. Seconds stretched into what felt like years, yet when they emerged, only moments had passed for the outside world. The humans had not killed them. They had tested them, observed them, and sent a warning in the only way they knew: silence. Stories of the scout fleet spread quickly across star systems. Pilots spoke in hushed tones at spaceports, engineers whispered in laboratories, and politicians muttered in council chambers. Humans were not merely a threat, they were something else entirely. Something that made even the bravest soldiers hesitate. Something that could make a fleet of thousands vanish without a fight. Something that reminded every species that they were no longer masters of the galaxy. The Valen Elder spoke again, her voice carrying across the council chambers. "This is their message. We are patient. We are aware. We do not need to fight to show our strength. And yet, we offer mercy to those who recognize it." Her gaze swept the room, eyes meeting those of delegates from dozens of species. "If we attack, we will learn their wrath. If we hesitate, we will learn their strategy. But know this, their patience is as dangerous as their power." In the void, the dark matter warships moved ever closer to the inner systems. They did not rush. They did not change formation. They moved like shadows flowing through the stars, silent, calm, unstoppable. And with every passing hour, every vanished scout, every failed attempt at communication, the galaxy learned one terrifying truth: humanity had returned. Not as refugees. Not as diplomats. Not as conquerors in the traditional sense. They had returned as a force beyond comprehension, a presence that could bend space and time, and a will that could outthink the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. The first warning had been sent. The galaxy had received it, and every species understood it in its own way. Some called it a test. Some called it a miracle. Most called it a nightmare. And somewhere, deep in the silent command bridge of the human flagship, the captain observed the galaxy's panic with quiet calculation. No words were spoken. No signals were sent. Humans had sent their message without firing a single shot, without raising a single weapon. Their warning was clear: respect us, or face consequences you cannot even imagine. The council fell into tense silence once more. Stars outside the observation station twinkled coldly, unaware of the terror spreading below. Fleet commanders, diplomats, and scientists all understood the truth that hung heavy in the air: humanity had returned. And if the galaxy thought it could predict them, understand them, or challenge them, it was already too late. The young Corran delegate leaned back in his chair, breathing shallowly. We cannot fight them," he whispered. "We cannot even plan for them. All we can do is wait." The Valen Elder nodded slowly. "Yes. Wait. And hope that patience is enough to survive the dawn of human power." And somewhere, in the endless black between stars, the human warships moved silently, dark matter humming through their cores. No one knew where they came from. No one knew their intent. No one dared approach. And the galaxy realized something it would never forget: humans were back. And the warning had just begun. The Galactic Council had never felt such a weight of fear. Every species, every ambassador, every fleet commander knew the truth now. Humans were not a myth, not a forgotten species, and certainly not weak. They were here. They were real. And they were nothing like anything the galaxy had ever seen. The council chamber, suspended in orbit around a neutral star, seemed smaller than it had ever felt. Ambassadors from dozens of civilizations crowded into the room, murmuring nervously. The walls, usually cold and imposing, now felt like they were closing in. Holographic projections of the dark matter warships floated in the center, each ship twisting light and shadows in ways that made even the most experienced counselor's stomach tighten. "The humans, they do not communicate," hissed the Crixian ambassador, claws gripping the edge of the table. His voice trembled, a rare crack in his usually stern tone. "They do not attack, they do not speak, and yet they are already terrifying every system in the Outer Rim. How can we fight what we cannot predict?" The Valen elder, silver eyes glinting in the dim chamberlight, leaned forward. "It is not only prediction we lack," she said softly, her voice echoing across the room. "We cannot even comprehend their methods. Our science fails against them. Our fleets are toys. Our weapons, illusions. If we strike, it will be our undoing." A young Corran delegate, still pale from witnessing the vanished scout fleet, stood trembling. "They are not just powerful," he said, voice barely steady. "They are patient. They watch. Every move we make, every word we send, they observe. They know. And yet, they do not act. Not yet. Why?" Silence followed, thick and heavy. The counselors looked at one another, searching for answers in faces drawn tight with fear. They found none. Outside the chamber, fleets prepared cautiously. Patrols scanned sectors near the human ships, but sensors failed to penetrate the dark matter field surrounding them. Ships sent signals that returned garbled, distorted, or entirely absent. And yet, humans moved slowly, deliberately, as though aware of every glance, every calculation. An Andori fleet commander paced in his command bay, claws scraping the floor. "We have studied their previous history," he muttered to himself. "Or what little remains of it. Humans vanished centuries ago, after wars that nearly destroyed themselves. We thought they were weak. We thought they were gone. But now they are gods among us." A holomap projected the positions of human ships. They were few, but immense, and yet impossible to measure accurately. Gravity around them fluctuated unpredictably. Energy fields bent like liquid. Time readings became inconsistent. The galaxy had never experienced such phenomena. Even the most advanced scientists could not explain what was happening. "Perhaps this is a bluff," a lesser species delegate whispered. "Perhaps their ships are illusions, projections, phantoms to scare us." The Valen elder shook her head slowly. "No bluff can erase entire fleets. No illusion can twist reality itself. We are not facing illusions. We are facing humans. And humans are not like any other species." Then the council received news that made every heart in the chamber sink. Another scout vessel had disappeared. A small Andori ship, barely a kilometer long, vanished in an instant near a human warship. Sensors recorded a spike of dark matter energy, a pulse that stretched and twisted space around the scout. When the readings normalized, the ship was gone. No debris, no signal, no trace. It was as if the ship had never existed. Murmurs became whispers. Whispers became panic. Fleet commanders back on the edge of human-controlled space began questioning their orders. "How can we fight them?" a pilot asked aloud, voice trembling. "How can we fire when our weapons bend back at us?" The young Corran delegate turned to the council, desperation clear in his eyes. "We are not ready. No species in this galaxy is ready. They are smarter, faster, stronger than any of us. And yet, they wait. They wait and watch. Every hesitation, every misstep, they will see. And then what? What happens if we make the wrong move?" The Valen elder's silver eyes glimmered. "Then we pay for our arrogance. We learn the hard truth that humans are not a species to be underestimated. They are not reckless. They do not strike without reason. But their patience is their greatest weapon. And patience is more dangerous than fury." The chamber grew quiet as the words sank in. Every counselor understood the unspoken truth. Humanity had returned not for war, not for conquest, but to remind the galaxy of their existence. They were a force that could not be bargained with, could not be predicted, and could not be destroyed with conventional weapons. And yet, they had not attacked a single system. They had not fired a shot. Their presence alone was the warning. Fleet commanders across the galaxy debated their options in tense, secret meetings. Some urged caution, advocating for monitoring and observation. Others, filled with pride and fear, pushed for a preemptive strike. Every plan failed before it began. Every calculation faltered. Every strategy was rendered useless. Humanity was always one step ahead. Or perhaps, the galaxy was already behind. In the outer sectors, the human warships moved like shadows through the stars. Their dark matter engines pulsed silently, bending light and energy around them. Pilots who tried to approach reported nausea, dizziness, and a sense of deep, primal fear. Some fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the sheer presence of the ships. One Andori scout, trembling as he stared at the massive flagship, whispered, "They are alive. The ships, they are alive. And they know us." Back in the council chamber, the Andori ambassador slammed his clawed fist onto the table, frustration and fear warring in his expression. "We must strike. We must act. Waiting will only make us weaker. They are patient, yes, but no being can wait forever." The Valen elder's gaze was unwavering. "We are not beings they can underestimate. They know patience. They know fear. And they know our every thought. Strike, and we unleash their judgment. Wait, and we risk nothing. Not yet. But know this, the day we act without understanding, we will pay. And that day may be tomorrow." A heavy silence fell over the chamber. No one spoke. The fear was palpable, tangible, pressing down on every delegate. Even the most hardened species felt it. They were facing a force beyond reckoning, beyond comprehension. Humans were patient, calculating, and infinitely more powerful than anyone had imagined. And the galaxy understood, with chilling clarity, that the true danger was not in the ships, not in the weapons, but in the minds of the humans themselves. Outside, dark matter warships glided silently. Systems trembled. Gravity fluctuated. Time warped. Every species watching realized something horrifying. Humans were not here to negotiate, not here to fight, and not even here to communicate. They were here to exist. And in their existence alone, they commanded respect, fear, and awe. The young Corran delegate sank into his chair, voice shaking. We cannot fight them. We cannot even plan for them. The galaxy is not ready." The Valen elder nodded slowly, voice low and deliberate. "Then we wait. We observe. And we pray that patience is enough to survive the dawn of humanity." Somewhere beyond the council, the human warships moved steadily, dark matter pulsing through their cores. They made no threats. They spoke no words. They fired no weapons. And yet, in every star system, on every patrol ship, in every heart that dared to look upon them, humans had already sent their message. We are here. We are patient. We are watching. And we are beyond reckoning. The council understood, finally and fully, that the galaxy had changed forever. Humans had returned, not with war, not with fury, but with a presence so powerful, so deliberate, that even the bravest species trembled. The warning had been delivered. And for those who survived, one truth remained: humanity would decide the future of the galaxy, and no one could predict what that future would hold. The galaxy had waited. Every species, every fleet, every counselor had felt the weight of humanity's presence for weeks now. The dark matter warships had drifted silently through the outer systems, observing, testing, and reminding the galaxy that humans were no ordinary species. The council had debated, argued, and feared every possible outcome, yet none had dared to act. Until today. A small alien patrol fleet, numbering barely 50 vessels, had been dispatched by the Crixian Empire. Their orders were clear: move cautiously, observe the human warships, gather any data possible, and return. No attack. Simple reconnaissance. Yet in their hearts, even the most experienced commanders feared what they would encounter. The patrol fleet approached the edge of human-controlled space. Stars stretched across the viewport, distant and cold. But as they neared the human warships, something impossible happened. Sensors went haywire. Systems flickered and failed. Gravity readings fluctuated wildly. Engines strained against invisible forces that twisted reality around them. It was as if the universe itself obeyed a law they could not understand. The commander of the patrol fleet, a veteran Crixian named Thrax, barked orders frantically. "All ships, maintain formation. Shield integrity, monitor dark matter fields. Keep sensors running, whatever happens, do not engage. His claws shook as he gripped the control console. He had faced the deadliest enemies the galaxy had produced, yet a cold, gnawing fear had lodged itself in his chest, a fear he had never known before. The human warships remained motionless, or so it seemed. Their dark hulls shimmered faintly, bending light, bending reality. And then, without warning, the first strike began. It did not come as fire or explosion. It came as silence, as absence. One of the patrol ships, a sleek Andori scout, disappeared in an instant. One moment it drifted steadily, engines humming, the next, it was gone. Sensors recorded a pulse of energy, dark and infinite, bending space like liquid shadow. The fleet tried to respond, raising shields, redirecting energy, but it was useless. The laws of physics themselves seemed suspended near the human warships. Panic erupted. Communications crackled with fear and confusion. Ship, gone. All systems failing. Repeat, lost, one pilot screamed, voice breaking. Another vessel twisted violently, pulled by forces no one could explain. Weapons misfired. Engines faltered. The patrol fleet realized, with horror, that they were no longer in control. The humans did not fire a single weapon. There was no salvo, no targeting, no attack. Their power was inherent, silent, absolute. Time itself seemed to obey their will. Fleet formations became irrelevant. Entire ships twisted, distorted, vanished and reappeared in different locations. One moment they were in front of the human flagship, the next behind it, as if reality itself had been rewritten. Thrax's claws dug into his console, desperation rising. What are they doing? He shouted, voice raw. How is this possible? A young lieutenant trembled beside him, eyes wide. They don't need weapons, she whispered. They are the weapon. They control everything. Space, time, the universe, it bends around them. We cannot fight this. One by one, patrol ships vanished. Others were frozen mid-maneuver, engines straining, systems screaming as if alive and fighting against the impossible force. For the first time in known galactic history, an entire fleet had been rendered helpless, not by numbers, not by firepower, but by the sheer presence of a species beyond comprehension. The dark matter warships glided forward slowly, deliberately. Their movement was not aggressive, yet terrifying beyond measure. They approached the outer systems, each pulse of energy from their cores warping reality itself. Pilots reported nausea, disorientation, and a deep sense of dread. Some prayed. Some screamed. Some simply closed their eyes, certain they were about to die. Back at the Galactic Council, holomaps displayed the chaos in real time. Delegates gasped and trembled. Systems that had been secure were now destabilized. Fleets that had been considered formidable were reduced to nothingness. Sensors blinked, reports came in fragmented and incoherent, but one truth was undeniable: humanity had demonstrated its power. And it was absolute. The Valen elder, silver eyes glinting, rose slowly. This is what we feared, she said, voice calm but heavy with sorrow. They do not fight like we know. They do not strike with weapons. Their presence is enough. Entire fleets vanish, entire systems bend, and they remain patient. They do not need to attack. They are already in control. A younger delegate, barely able to speak, whispered, We cannot survive them. Not one species, not one fleet, can stand against this. The human captain on the flagship observed the chaos silently. Crew members moved efficiently, checking systems and energy outputs, but there was no panic. No anger. No emotion beyond calm calculation. The humans had achieved what no other species could: absolute control without aggression. They had sent a warning, and it was clear. The outer fleets tried to retreat, but space itself seemed against them. Ships were slowed by invisible forces, twisted into impossible trajectories, and some vanished entirely. Every move, every attempt at escape, played into the humans' silent demonstration of power. The lesson was clear: humanity did not need to fight to win. Their strength was the ability to manipulate the very fabric of reality, to bend time, space, and energy to their will. Panic spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Reports poured in from the outer rim, from distant patrols, from explorers and traders alike. The humans had not fired a single shot, yet their demonstration left fear etched in the hearts of every species. Fleet commanders whispered of impossible physics, of ships vanishing mid-flight, of gravity twisting unpredictably. Every word carried the weight of dread. At the council, the Crixian ambassador slammed his claws against the table. This is madness. We cannot fight them. Our fleets are nothing. Every strategy, every plan, useless. The Valen elder nodded slowly, silver eyes reflecting the flickering holomaps. No strategy will work. No plan can counter them. They are beyond our understanding. And yet, they have not attacked a single inhabited system. Not a single planet. Their first strike is not of destruction, it is of warning. A reminder. The young Corran delegate swallowed hard, voice trembling. They are patient. They wait. They observe. Every mistake we make, every rash decision, they will see it. And then they will act. Outside, the human warships drifted silently. Dark matter pulsed through their cores, bending light, bending space, bending reality itself. No one knew their numbers. No one knew their limits. No one knew their intent. All the galaxy knew was that the first strike had been delivered, and the first strike was not a battle. It was a lesson. The lesson was terrifying, absolute, and unforgettable. Humanity had returned. They were stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever known. And now, every species, every fleet, every counselor knew it. The young lieutenant whispered again, voice trembling, "We cannot fight them, we cannot even survive them." And in the void, the human captain observed silently, dark matter humming through the massive flagship. No words were spoken. No weapons fired. The first strike had been delivered, and the galaxy trembled, not because humans had attacked, but because humans had shown what they could do without lifting a finger. The first strike was over. But the fear it left behind would echo across the stars for centuries. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy understood, with chilling clarity, that no one, no species, no weapon, could ever take them lightly again. The first strike had shaken the galaxy to its core. Entire fleets had vanished, entire patrols had disappeared, and the Council had been forced to confront the impossible truth. Humans were not merely advanced, they were beyond comprehension. Yet, while the galaxy reeled in fear, the human warships continued their slow, deliberate advance. Their presence alone reshaped the void. But what no one knew was that the first strike had only shown a fraction of their power. Deep within the outer rim, hidden from all senses, lay the true human fleet, the Shadow Fleet. While the visible warships had captured attention, these vessels were far larger in number, far more terrifying in design, and cloaked in a way that defied detection. Entire squadrons moved silently, phasing between dimensions, using dark matter as both armor and weapon. Even the most advanced alien scanners failed to detect them. The galaxy had seen only the surface of human might. A scout ship from the Galactic Council, braver or perhaps more reckless than most, stumbled upon the Shadow Fleet. Its sensors flickered and died as it approached the coordinates. Screens displayed garbled images, shadows within shadows, shapes moving with impossible speed, energy signatures that twisted and danced like living things. The crew froze, unable to comprehend the reality before them. Captain Thera of the scout vessel whispered, voice trembling, It cannot be. There are more of them, far more, than we thought, every sensor lies." Her crew stared at the readings, minds racing to understand. But no one could. Even the most advanced theoretical models of physics crumbled under the evidence. These ships did not simply exist in space, they existed with space, bending it, flowing through it, manipulating it as though it were an extension of their will. The Shadow Fleet was not idle. Its movements were deliberate, calculated, precise. Entire sectors of the outer galaxy were being observed, tested, and mapped. Each human vessel seemed connected to the others, a network of awareness and strategy that spanned light years. Communications between the ships were instantaneous, not through conventional signals, but through pulses of dark matter energy, rippling invisibly through the universe. Back at the Council, the holomap flickered as reports arrived. Ambassadors gasped and murmured. Every new data stream brought more dread. "They are everywhere," whispered the Corran delegate, voice shaking. Not just the warships we see, they are in the shadows, thousands, tens of thousands, hidden. The Valen elder rose slowly, silver eyes gleaming with fear and awe. They have prepared for this, for centuries, perhaps millennia. The ships we have seen, they are only the visible portion of a force that cannot be measured, cannot be contained, and cannot be fought directly. They are not here to fight, yet. But if they chose, the galaxy would fall before them. Whispers of the Shadow Fleet spread across star systems, reaching scientists, fleet commanders, and explorers. Some refused to believe it, thinking it exaggeration. Others wept quietly, unable to process the scale of what humans had built. "It is impossible," one scientist said, voice trembling. "No species could achieve this, no technology could bend space and time like this, and yet, it is real." Outside the council chamber, the visible human warships moved steadily, drawing attention and fear, while the Shadow Fleet remained unseen. It was a silent predator, waiting, observing, a constant reminder that humans had power beyond what the galaxy could even imagine. Entire fleets of the Council could be destroyed in minutes, yet not a single human vessel had fired a weapon. Their presence was a warning, a lesson, a demonstration of power without aggression. Fleet commanders debated their options, but no strategy seemed viable. "We cannot strike," said Admiral Cross of the Andori fleet, voice tight with frustration. "We cannot even know where the rest of the fleet is. Every plan we make, every move we take, is already obsolete. We are blind before them." A younger lieutenant spoke up, voice barely audible. "It is not just the ships," she said. "It is their minds. They are connected, every ship, every crew member, as if they think as one. Even the laws of physics obey them." The council listened, and dread spread like wildfire. This was no longer about fleets or weapons. This was about a species that had mastered the very universe around them. Their strategy, patience, and intelligence were beyond understanding. Every move the council made, every fleet deployed, was already accounted for. Humans had not just returned, they had prepared, hidden, and waited until the galaxy was vulnerable. In the outer rim, fleets reported more anomalies. Stars blinked oddly near human positions. Entire asteroid fields shifted, as if guided by invisible hands. Gravity fluctuated. Sensors failed. Pilots reported strange feelings, nausea, disorientation, even visions of impossible shapes. Some whispered that the Shadow Fleet itself was alive, a living extension of human will. At the council, the Valen elder spoke again, voice steady but cold with fear. "The humans do not need to strike to dominate. They exist beyond our understanding. Their fleet, their presence, their strategy, all are beyond comprehension. And yet, they wait. They watch. They judge. They will act only when they deem it necessary. That is what terrifies us most, their patience." The young Corran delegate whispered, almost to himself, "We are already outmatched. Not by weapons, not by numbers, not by fleets, but by thought, by will, by presence. We are insignificant." The humans, in their dark matter warships, continued to glide silently through space. Their Shadow Fleet remained unseen, yet its effect was everywhere. Entire systems had been mapped, entire fleets observed, entire civilizations measured. The galaxy could feel it, even if it could not see it. Humanity was watching. Humanity was aware. Humanity was preparing. And in that silent, unbroken presence, the galaxy understood the truth. The Shadow Fleet was not just a military force. It was a statement. A message. A warning. Humans did not need to fight to assert their power. They had already won the first battle by existing, by being present, by showing the galaxy that their shadow stretched further than anyone could imagine. The council trembled. Fleets hesitated. Explorers returned in silence, their faces pale, eyes wide with fear. Scientists abandoned calculations, knowing their understanding of physics and reality itself was inadequate. And everywhere, the whispers grew. Humans were patient, humans were clever, humans were everywhere, and the Shadow Fleet was proof that the galaxy had only seen the beginning. In the command bridge of the human flagship, the captain observed quietly. Dark matter pulsed softly through the core, rippling across the fleet. Crew moved without urgency, checking systems that no alien scanner could detect, making calculations no species could understand. They did not celebrate. They did not rejoice. They only existed, calm, deliberate, and aware of every reaction in the galaxy. The Shadow Fleet would remain hidden for now. But its existence was undeniable. Every species, every fleet, every mind that had glimpsed its power understood that humanity had returned not merely to survive, but to dominate reality itself. And the message was clear: do not underestimate humans. They were patient. They were everywhere. And the Shadow Fleet would strike only when they decided the time was right. The Council, silent and trembling, finally realized the full truth. Humanity's warships were terrifying. Their Shadow Fleet was terrifying beyond measure. And the galaxy, every species, every civilization, every mind, was powerless to stop them. The warning was clear. Humanity was not just a species returning to the stars. Humanity had returned as a shadow over the entire galaxy, invisible yet undeniable, patient yet unstoppable, calm yet capable of annihilation. The galaxy would never be the same again. And somewhere, deep within the dark matter engines of the Shadow Fleet, humans waited. Silent. Watching. Calculating. Patient. The dawn of a new era had begun. The Shadow Fleet had emerged. And the galaxy trembled. The Galactic Council had never been so united in fear. The first strike and the revelation of the Shadow Fleet had shaken every system, every fleet, every diplomat. Entire civilizations whispered that humanity had returned not merely to reclaim its place, but to remind the galaxy of its supremacy. The Council had debated, argued, and trembled. Now, they faced a choice that could determine the survival of countless species: diplomacy. The chamber of the Council, usually a place of debate and protocol, buzzed with unease. Ambassadors from dozens of species huddled in small groups, murmuring urgently. Holomaps of the outer systems flickered with the positions of human warships, each one bending light and warping sensors in impossible ways. The Shadow Fleet's existence had been confirmed, but its exact location remained unknown. The galaxy was faced with an enemy that could strike anywhere, anytime, and remained invisible until it chose to reveal itself. "The humans are beyond us," hissed the Crixian ambassador, claws tapping nervously against the table. "They have demonstrated power no fleet can withstand, technology no mind can comprehend, and patience that terrifies even the bravest among us. How do we negotiate with beings like this?" The Valen elder rose, silver eyes glinting, and her voice cut through the murmurs, calm yet heavy with authority. "We must try," she said. "We must extend the olive branch, not because we are strong, but because we are alive. Diplomacy may fail. It may be futile. But it is the only path that leaves hope for the galaxy intact." Plans were hastily drawn. A delegation would be sent, the most skilled diplomats, negotiators, and linguists assembled from across the Council. Their message was simple: humanity was respected, acknowledged, and offered the opportunity to coexist peacefully. Yet every member of the delegation felt the same cold dread. They were walking into the lair of a species that had already proven it could destroy entire fleets without lifting a finger. The delegation's vessel approached the human fleet slowly, cautiously, every system checked, every sensor monitored, every protocol followed. Outside, dark matter warships drifted silently, enormous and imposing, bending light and space, pulsing with power that no alien mind could fully grasp. The Council delegation could not detect the full extent of the Shadow Fleet. It was everywhere, yet invisible. They were entering a domain where the rules of the universe themselves were altered by human presence. Inside the command bridge of the delegation ship, Ambassador Lyra of the Andori sector spoke quietly, voice trembling despite her efforts to appear calm. "I've negotiated with warlords, emperors, and tyrants before," she said. "But nothing could prepare me for this. It feels like we are stepping into a predator's den, and the predator isn't hunting, yet." The young Corran delegate, still pale from the first strike, nodded grimly. "We are walking into silence," he said. "We do not know if it is calm or a trap. But we have no choice. This is the only way to prevent a war we cannot survive." The human flagship loomed ahead, enormous beyond comprehension, dark matter pulsating through its hull. Crew moved efficiently, silently, aware of every movement of the approaching delegation. The Council ship entered their formation, sensors flickering, instruments failing, light bending in ways that disoriented the crew. And yet, the humans did not react aggressively. They waited, silent, patient, calculating. The delegation attempted communication. "We come in peace," Lyra transmitted, voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "We seek dialogue. We acknowledge your return, your strength, and the supremacy you have displayed. Let us speak, to prevent unnecessary conflict." Silence answered. The humans did not respond with words. They did not issue a threat. They did not open fire. They simply existed, dark matter pulsing, light bending, and the very fabric of space trembling subtly around them. The council delegation felt it as a pressure on their minds, a weight in their chests, a reminder that every move, every thought, was visible to the humans. Hours passed. Communication attempts continued, all met with silence. The delegation could only wait, heartbeats loud in their ears, every sense straining to detect a signal, a gesture, a hint of intent. The galaxy watched nervously through distant sensors, hoping that the humans would accept diplomacy rather than force. Finally, a response came, not in words, not in language, but in action. A small human vessel detached from the flagship, drifting toward the council delegation. It moved slowly, deliberately, with no weapons raised, no threat implied. The delegation could see nothing inside the vessel, but the pressure, the awareness, was undeniable. Humans were observing, calculating, deciding whether they even considered the council worth engaging. Ambassador Lyra swallowed hard, voice barely above a whisper. "They are assessing us, judging us. Every thought, every emotion, every intention, they know it all. This is not just diplomacy. It is submission by presence." The human vessel stopped just short of the delegation ship, dark matter energy radiating faintly across the void. Sensors fluctuated violently, failing intermittently, and yet the crew could feel the silent weight of intelligence, patience, and power pressing against them. For the first time, every member of the delegation understood fully the truth of humanity's return. These were not beings to bargain with, they were beings to respect, to fear, to survive. The Valen elders' words echoed in their minds. They wait. They watch. They judge. They act only when necessary. And when they do, none can withstand them. Minutes stretched into hours. The council delegation remained in place, powerless yet determined, hoping to convey respect and acknowledgement. Every moment was a test, every silent pulse from the human vessel a measure of their patience and discernment. And then, without warning, the human vessel reversed its approach. It drifted back to the flagship, leaving the delegation unharmed, untouched, yet acutely aware of the invisible barrier between survival and destruction. The message was clear: humanity had acknowledged the delegation, but they would not engage further, at least, not yet. Diplomacy had been granted, but on humanity's terms. The council delegation returned to the Galactic Council Station, pale, shaken, and silent. Every report, every recording, every sensor log emphasized the same truth. Humans had allowed communication, but only to demonstrate their mercy and their patience. They did not need to engage in battle to assert dominance. Their presence, their judgment, their ability to manipulate the very laws of physics, was sufficient to bend the galaxy to awe and fear. The council convened immediately. Delegates spoke in hushed tones, voices quivering with disbelief. "They have granted us peace, but on their terms," the Crixian ambassador said. "We do not know why. We do not know if it will last. They do not speak, and yet they have spoken louder than any weapon." The Valen elder nodded slowly, eyes reflecting the holomaps of the human fleet. "They have issued a warning," she said quietly. "A message that transcends words. They do not need to strike. They do not need to fight. Their judgment is enough. And we have been given the chance to survive only because they choose it." The young Corran delegate, pale and trembling, spoke finally, voice raw. "They are not just strong. They are patient. They are aware. They see everything. And they have chosen not to destroy us, yet. But one misstep, one act of arrogance, and the galaxy will burn." Outside, dark matter warships glided silently through space, the shadow fleet remaining unseen, undetectable, omnipresent. The galaxy could feel their weight, their presence, but could not touch them, could not predict them, could not fight them. Humanity had returned, not with fury, but with control, patience, and intelligence far beyond comprehension. The diplomatic gambit had been played, and it had succeeded only because humanity allowed it to. The galaxy understood the truth. Humans were not just a species that had returned. They were a force beyond reckoning, beyond fear, beyond hope. They existed on their own terms, and every species, every fleet, every mind, would bend to their patience and judgment, or be destroyed. And somewhere, deep within the dark matter engines of the human flagship, the captain observed quietly. The galaxy had been given a warning. Diplomacy had been extended. And yet, in the silence, one truth remained unmistakable. Humanity waited, patient and unstoppable, and the dawn of their dominance had only just begun. The galaxy had paused, uncertain, trembling under the quiet presence of humans. The first strike had been a warning. The Shadow Fleet remained unseen but omnipresent, a reminder of humanity's unmeasurable power. Diplomacy had been offered and acknowledged, but no one in the Council or Fleet Command dared believe it would last. And yet, as terrifying as the present was, the Council began to understand that the humans' true power was not only in their ships, their weapons, or their mastery of dark matter, it was in their history. Long ago, humans had vanished from galactic records. For centuries, the galaxy believed them weak, scattered, and insignificant. Archives recorded conflicts with other species, planetary wars that seemed petty and primitive. Humans were dismissed, underestimated, mocked. Until now. The revelation of the Shadow Fleet and the First Strike had forced scholars and historians to dig deeper, to re-examine long-forgotten records, to remember stories buried under centuries of arrogance. And what they discovered was unsettling. Humanity had not disappeared, they had been hunted. For millennia, they were pursued relentlessly by an ancient coalition of empires that feared their potential. Entire civilizations had attempted to eliminate humans, and yet humans survived, adapting, learning, evolving in secret. Across the council chambers, delegates listened in disbelief as historical data streamed onto holomaps. They were never weak, whispered the Crixian ambassador, his voice trembling. We believed the stories, we thought we knew them, but all of it was lies. They survived because they were clever, patient, and unstoppable. The aliens struck with terrifying ferocity. Missiles and plasma fire rained across space, engines flared, and hulls groaned under the strain of assault. Yet the human fleet moved like a single organism. Railguns intercepted every projectile with unerring accuracy, vaporizing them before they could reach civilian colonies or human warships. Teleporter strike teams blinked directly onto alien command ships, neutralizing officers, sabotaging weapon systems, and capturing critical control points before alarms could sound. Engineers recalibrated weapons mid-battle, pilots navigated debris fields flawlessly, and soldiers moved through captured ships like shadows, securing them without hesitation. Every human action was deliberate, every decision calculated, every strike precise. Humanity had turned centuries of grief into strategy, loss into focus, memory into unstoppable force. Across distant colonies, civilians watched the transmissions, hearts pounding, eyes wide with awe. Children whispered to their parents, marveling at the precision and calm of the human fleets. Adults held their breath as massive alien dreadnoughts were torn apart in seconds, vaporized by railguns, or rendered useless by teleporter strikes. Humanity had endured countless trials, survived when others had doubted them, and now the galaxy could see the truth. Humans did not panic. Humans did not falter. Humans remembered, endured, and acted with unshakable focus. Every officer, every soldier, every pilot carried the memory of lost worlds, abandoned colonies, and destroyed families, transforming grief into perfect precision on the battlefield. The young officer on her bridge saw a massive alien assault fleet trying to regroup for a coordinated strike. They moved quickly, hoping to overwhelm the human forces and turn the tide of battle. But humans had anticipated every move. Railguns fired with surgical accuracy, tearing through the lead ships before the fleet could organize. Teleporter teams blinked onto alien bridges and engineering bays, neutralizing officers and weapons systems before a single alarm could sound. Panic spread like wildfire through the alien ranks. Communication lines collapsed, ships collided, engines failed, and formations dissolved into chaos. The aliens had expected fear, confusion, and disorder among the humans, but they found discipline, calm, and unshakable focus instead. Humanity had turned memory and grief into strength, and now it was unstoppable. In the human command center, another officer recalled the destruction of his homeworld centuries ago. He had lost family, friends, and neighbors when the Galactic Council refused to intervene. That grief, that anger did not weaken him. It focused him, guiding every decision, every strike, every movement. Humanity did not fight blindly. Every action was deliberate, every maneuver precise, every strike guided by centuries of memory, endurance, and moral clarity. Across the war zone, railguns fired, teleporters blinked strike teams into critical positions, and human pilots navigated the chaos with deadly precision. Alien ships were shredded, disabled, and captured in moments. Their pride, forged over 6,000 years, evaporated in seconds. Humanity had not just survived the first attacks, they were now dictating the flow of the entire battle. The alien commanders screamed, frantic, desperate to regain control, but their crews were already scattered, their ships disabled or destroyed. Panic consumed them, and with panic came mistakes. They collided, fired at each other in confusion, and their formations fell apart. Humanity moved steadily, methodically, with a calm focus that no alien force could anticipate. They did not fight recklessly. They fought with clarity, discipline, and moral purpose. Every railgun hit, every teleporter strike, every maneuver executed by human forces carried the weight of history and the promise of survival. Humanity had endured centuries of neglect, attacks, and underestimation, and now they proved to the galaxy that they were unstoppable. The young officer watched the last wave of alien reinforcements approach, massive dreadnoughts and cruisers designed to overwhelm human defenses. She did not flinch. Every railgun was charged. Every teleporter team was ready. Every pilot knew their position, every soldier knew their role. Humanity would not hesitate. Humanity would not break. Humanity would endure. And when the storm of human precision, discipline, and moral focus struck, the aliens would realize the terrible cost of underestimating a species that remembered, that endured, and that acted with clarity and purpose. The railguns fired again, massive beams tearing through the lead alien ships, vaporizing engines and cutting fleets apart before they could react. Teleporter strike teams blinked onto enemy command bridges, neutralizing weapons and capturing officers. Alien crews screamed, confused and helpless. Their pride, their authority, their fleets were all collapsing under the relentless precision of humanity. Across the galaxy, the first clear truth became undeniable: humanity was unshakable. Humanity was precise. Humanity was disciplined. Humanity remembered, endured, and acted with moral clarity that no enemy could resist. The storm had only begun, but it was unstoppable. The aliens, for the first time in 6,000 years, realized the terrifying truth: they had misjudged the humans, and they would never forget that mistake. The alien fleet's desperation was growing with every second. Their formations, once proud and disciplined, were now fractured, chaotic, and trembling under the precision of human forces. Panic spread like wildfire through their ranks. Screams echoed across the void as officers shouted conflicting orders, and ships collided in the darkness, hulls groaning and engines failing. Yet humanity did not pause. Across every command center, every orbital station, every battle-ready world, officers, pilots, engineers, and soldiers moved with unwavering focus. Their eyes reflected determination, their hands moved with calm precision, and their minds were sharper than any weapon. They had endured 6,000 years of underestimation, neglect, and oppression, and now every human carried centuries of memory into the battlefield. Every strike, every maneuver, every decision was infused with the knowledge of what had been lost and what must be defended. On the bridge of a human command cruiser, the young officer who had watched the first alien wave approached the holographic map with renewed focus. She remembered the colonies that had been destroyed centuries ago, the families lost to neglect, the worlds abandoned while the Galactic Council had turned its back. Those memories did not paralyze her. They sharpened her senses, guiding every decision she made, every command she gave. Humanity did not fight out of anger or pride. They fought with moral clarity, precision, and discipline, turning grief into strength, suffering into strategy, and memory into unstoppable force. The aliens launched wave after wave of attacks. Massive dreadnoughts moved forward, launching missiles and plasma barrages, attempting to breach human defenses. But human railguns fired with deadly accuracy, vaporizing the lead ships before they could coordinate their assault. The hidden past had revealed itself. The lesson was clear. Humanity did not act without reason, but when they did, no force in the galaxy could withstand them. The Galactic Council had reached the edge of desperation. Months of observing, fearing, and negotiating with humans had brought no comfort, no reassurance. Every fleet commander, every species knew that humans were patient, calculating, and unstoppable. Yet, fear had turned into something more dangerous: pride. For the first time since humanity's return, the Council decided to act. A preemptive strike was planned, a calculated attempt to hit the human fleet before they could fully assert their dominance. Fleets from multiple species, the most formidable armadas the galaxy had ever assembled, converged on the edge of human-controlled space. Thousands of ships, billions of weapons, and generations of military experience were brought together. And yet, not one officer, not one commander, dared to believe it would succeed. Admiral Cross of the Andori fleet stood on the bridge of the command vessel, claws gripping the railing as he watched the formations. "We cannot fail," he said, voice taut with tension. "If we fail, our fleets, our people, and every colony in the outer systems will be destroyed. Humanity may be patient, but patience has its limits. We strike now, or we are finished." Every commander understood the stakes. Communication lines buzzed with tension. Fleet deployments were precise, synchronized to a degree that had never before been attempted in galactic warfare. Sensors strained to detect the human warships, but dark matter fields warped readings, twisted energy, and obscured true positions. Even the most advanced detection technology faltered, creating false readings, phantom fleets, and distorted coordinates. The humans, meanwhile, observed silently. On board the flagship, the captain watched fleet movements with calm precision. Dark matter pulsed through the hull, warping light and energy in subtle waves. Every preemptive maneuver by the Council fleets was noted, analyzed, and catalogued. Every weakness, every hesitation, every miscalculation was recorded for the perfect response. The first clash occurred in the void near a remote asteroid field. The Council's fleets moved in formation, confident in their numbers, confident in their strategy. They fired long-range missiles, energy beams, and plasma barrages at what sensors indicated were human positions. But even before the first shot reached its target, reality itself seemed to betray them. Entire squadrons vanished mid-flight. Ships froze, engines straining against invisible forces. Energy shields bent and twisted, redirecting weapon fire back at the attacking fleet. Pilots screamed into communications, voice cracking, as their weapons misfired, systems failed, and gravity itself fluctuated unpredictably. They were not being attacked, they were being toyed with. Every attempt to strike a human vessel was rendered useless, as if the laws of the universe had been rewritten to serve the human's will. Admiral Cross staggered back from the command console, disbelief etched across his face. "Impossible, how are they doing this?" he shouted, voice shaking. "Every shot, every maneuver, it fails before it even begins." On the human flagship, the captain observed silently. Crew members moved efficiently, checking systems and monitoring the battlefield. There was no haste, no panic, no emotion beyond calm calculation. Every council move had been anticipated. Every fleet maneuver accounted for. Humans had chosen not to strike aggressively yet, but their demonstration of control was absolute. The council fleets tried to adapt, shifting formations, redirecting energy, coordinating attacks across multiple sectors. But every adjustment played into human strategy. Entire battle groups were frozen mid-combat, immobilized by forces they could not perceive or counter. One by one, ships vanished, reappeared elsewhere, or were silently dismantled at a subatomic level. Every action the Council attempted only emphasized their vulnerability. The young Corran delegate whispered to himself, voice trembling, "They are not just strong, they are omniscient. They anticipate everything. They see every thought, every intention, every weakness. And we are nothing." Back in the council chamber, holomaps displayed the chaos in real time. Delegates watched their fleets vanish or become immobilized, hearing fragmented reports over communications. "Entire squadrons gone," said one pilot, voice shaking. "Systems failing, engines dead, weapons misfiring. It's impossible." The Valen Elder, standing at the center of the chamber, silver eyes reflecting flickering holomaps, spoke softly, almost to herself. This is the truth. Humanity does not need to strike to dominate. They do not fight as we know. They bend reality, manipulate energy, and control forces we cannot even perceive. We thought patience was a threat, but their precision, their calculation, it is far deadlier than any weapon. Council fleets attempted a retreat, but space itself seemed to conspire against them. Ships twisted on impossible trajectories, engines strained, and some vanished entirely. Pilots reported disorientation, nausea, and overwhelming fear. A veteran commander muttered, "It is as if the universe itself obeys them. They are not merely a species, they are a force of nature." As the first Council attack collapsed in failure, panic spread across distant systems. News of the fleet's destruction or immobilization traveled faster than any messenger, sowing fear and confusion. Entire empires began reconsidering their positions, realizing that the humans' patient observation and calculated restraint were more terrifying than open aggression. In the void, human warships glided silently, dark matter pulsing like the heartbeat of a predator. The Shadow Fleet remained hidden, its presence invisible but palpably felt. Every Council movement had been anticipated, every fleet's weaknesses exploited without a shot fired. Humanity had demonstrated not only superiority but mastery over space, strategy, and patience. The young Corran delegate collapsed into his chair, voice shaking. We cannot survive them. Not by fleets, not by weapons, not by numbers. They are perfect, and we are exposed." The Valen Elder's voice was calm, but heavy with gravity. "The galaxy has learned a painful truth today. Humanity is patient. Humanity is precise. Humanity is unstoppable. And we have provoked only a fraction of what they can do. The Council fleets have learned what happens when we act without understanding. The lesson is clear: do not challenge humanity lightly, and never underestimate patience." Somewhere deep within the human flagship, the captain observed silently. The Council fleets had struck first, misjudged, and suffered. Humans had not needed to strike aggressively, yet their control had been absolute. They had proven, without doubt, that no species, no fleet, and no technology could challenge their will. The first Council attack had ended, but the consequences would echo across the galaxy for generations. Entire fleets were shattered, confidence destroyed, and the Council's arrogance exposed. Humanity had waited for centuries, observed silently, and now, when provoked, demonstrated with terrifying precision that patience combined with calculation could conquer without fury, could destroy without malice, and could bend the galaxy itself to their will. And as human warships drifted silently through the void, dark matter pulsing like a living thing, every surviving fleet, every trembling ambassador, every terrified species understood the same unshakable truth: humanity did not fight like the galaxy had ever known. Humanity fought like the universe itself obeyed them. The galaxy had attempted a preemptive strike, and in doing so, had witnessed the beginning of its own reckoning. Humanity had acted with precision, patience, and terrifying awareness. The Council had learned, too late, that the first strike may have been a warning, but the second, deliberate, calculated, merciless in its observation, was a lesson the galaxy would never forget. The first Council attack was over. But humanity's judgment had only begun. The galaxy had trembled once before at the sight of humanity's first strike. Entire fleets had vanished, systems had faltered, and the Council had been forced to confront the terrifying truth: humans were beyond comprehension. But that had been only the beginning. What no one knew was that the universe itself was about to reveal the true extent of human power. In the void beyond the outer systems, human warships moved silently, dark matter pulsing through their cores like the heartbeat of an unseen god. Every vessel, from the colossal flagships to the smaller scout ships, operated with a precision that defied description. They bent space itself, manipulating gravity, time, and energy with effortless mastery. Council fleets, desperate and terrified after the first Council attack, attempted to regroup. They deployed ships in reinforced formations, weapons primed, strategies meticulously planned. They believed preparation could offer safety. They believed numbers, technology, and coordination might counter the human threat. They were wrong. The first signs of the revelation began subtly. Gravity fields around entire sectors fluctuated unpredictably. Sensors detected strange distortions in energy signatures. Pilots reported seeing stars shimmer and bend as if the universe itself were flexing. At first, Council commanders believed it to be a technical malfunction. Then they realized humans were rewriting reality around them. A Valen fleet commander shouted into his comms, voice trembling, "All ships, report status. Shields failing, engines, systems, everything is fluctuating. What is happening? Before anyone could answer, the first display of absolute human power occurred. One of the largest Council battlecruisers, bristling with weapons and shielded by the most advanced armor, vanished in an instant. Sensors recorded an incomprehensible event. Matter within the ship seemed to dissolve, phase through dimensions, and reassemble, but in an area far from its intended trajectory, completely immobilized, systems offline, crew screaming in terror. "Impossible," whispered a young Corran lieutenant, gripping the console. It is as if reality itself obeys them. Our weapons, our shields, nothing works against them. Human warships moved forward, not aggressively, but deliberately. Their dark matter caused radiated energy waves that bent space, twisted time, and manipulated physics in ways the galaxy could barely comprehend. Entire fleets found themselves slowed, frozen, or displaced. Some ships vanished entirely, only to reappear in entirely different coordinates, disoriented and crippled. Pilots reported nausea, vertigo, and disorientation beyond anything previously known. The Council attempted communication, pleading with the humans to cease. Every message was met with silence. The humans did not respond with words, aggression, or signals. They only existed, their presence reshaping the universe itself. And in that silence, the galaxy understood a chilling truth: humans did not need to attack to destroy. Their power was not measured by weapons or firepower, but by absolute control over the fundamental laws of existence. On board the human flagship, the captain observed the chaos with calm precision. Crew members moved efficiently, monitoring the fluctuating fields, adjusting dark matter output, and observing every council maneuver. There was no haste, no panic, no malice. Every movement, every reaction, every signal from the council fleets had been predicted, anticipated, and catalogued. Humanity had waited centuries to return, and every moment of preparation had led to this revelation. Fleet commanders across the galaxy struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. They can manipulate space, time, energy, matter, everything, muttered Admiral Cross of the Andori fleet. Our fleets are useless. Our strategies, irrelevant. They see everything, anticipate everything, and bend the universe itself to their will. In the council chamber, delegates watched in horror as holomaps displayed fleets immobilized, scattered, and vanishing without a trace. Scientists tried to explain the phenomena, but equations collapsed under the reality of human power. Every law of physics had been tested, broken, and rewritten in real time by humans' mastery of dark matter. The Valen elder spoke slowly, voice calm but filled with awe and fear. We have underestimated them for centuries. Their patience was terrifying. Their strategy, brilliant. But this is something more. Humanity does not fight as we know. They fight as if the universe itself is their weapon. Entire fleets can vanish, entire systems can bend, and yet, they remain silent, waiting. Pilots reported new horrors. Entire asteroid fields shifted, as if moved by unseen hands. Stars flickered and bent, gravitational tides warped fleets into impossible formations. Energy weapons misfired, engines stalled, and navigation computers failed in every ship. Council fleets were rendered useless, not by destruction, but by manipulation of reality itself. A young lieutenant, voice trembling, whispered, They are not just strong. They are omnipotent. We cannot fight them. We cannot survive them. They are everywhere, and nowhere at the same time." In the void, human warships glided silently, dark matter pulsing like a heartbeat, bending light and space around them. The Shadow Fleet remained hidden, omnipresent, and untouchable, ready to act if necessary. The galaxy could feel its presence even where sensors failed. Entire empires realized that their survival did not depend on numbers, fleets, or weapons, but on whether humanity even chose to allow them to live. Admiral Cross collapsed into his chair, voice breaking. We cannot, we are powerless. They control everything. They are not fighting, and yet we are already defeated. The council trembled, fleets faltered, and panic spread faster than any weapon could travel. Humanity had revealed the true extent of their power, control over dark matter, space, energy, and even reality itself. They were not merely a threat, they were a force that no species, no fleet, no weapon could challenge. And somewhere deep within the human flagship, the captain observed silently. No words were spoken. No orders were shouted. The universe itself obeyed. Humanity had revealed its full potential, and the galaxy understood with bone-deep clarity that no amount of negotiation, fleet deployment, or strategy could stand against the mastery of human dark matter warships. The dark matter revelation had been delivered. The galaxy was broken, terrified, and awed. Humanity did not fight in the way the galaxy understood. Humanity fought as if the universe itself was their weapon. And the lesson was clear: the age of human dominance had begun. Every fleet, every system, every mind in the galaxy would remember this day. Not as a battle, not as a victory, not as a defeat, but as the moment the galaxy truly comprehended the scale of humanity's power. The galaxy had seen humans bend reality itself, and it trembled. The galaxy had changed, and everyone knew it. Not one fleet, not one civilization, not one council delegate could speak without acknowledging the truth. Humanity's dark matter warships had revealed a power beyond imagination, beyond technology, beyond comprehension. Entire fleets had been immobilized, systems had faltered, and the universe itself had bent under the sheer presence of human will. The Galactic Council convened in an emergency session, the largest gathering in recorded history. Every species was represented, every fleet accounted for, and every mind was weighed down with fear. Holomaps displayed the remnants of shattered fleets, the anomalous distortions of space near human positions, and the subtle but undeniable influence of the shadow fleet lurking unseen. Every delegate felt the same weight. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted irreversibly, and humans were at its center. Ambassador Lyra rose, her voice trembling but firm. "The humans have shown us, we cannot fight them," she said. "They do not attack recklessly, yet they control reality itself. Entire fleets vanish, fleets fail, weapons misfire, and still, they remain calm. They are patient. They are precise. They are unstoppable. We must acknowledge it. We must adapt, or we are finished." Murmurs ran through the chamber, some delegates weeping quietly, some gripping tables in despair. The Valen elder, silver eyes reflecting the holomaps of human warships, spoke with a voice that resonated across the chamber, calm yet heavy with finality. "The galaxy is no longer ours to command. Humanity has returned not merely to survive but to dictate terms. Every species, every fleet, every civilization has been measured, evaluated, and observed. And we have been found wanting." Outside, council fleets drifted silently, regrouping from the catastrophic failure of the first council attack. Pilots reported strange phenomena: gravity fluctuations, energy distortions, and impossible spatial anomalies that defied comprehension. Entire armadas had been displaced without a single human shot fired. The galaxy had been taught its limits, and the lesson was unforgiving. Even empires long thought invincible trembled. Communications from distant sectors arrived filled with fear and confusion. "We cannot predict them. We cannot outrun them. Every attempt at offense or defense is futile. They do not fight, they simply exist, and the universe bends to their will," reported a fleet commander of the Andori Armada. The young Corran delegate whispered to himself, voice trembling. "They are not just a threat, they are a force that cannot be opposed. Every calculation, every fleet, every weapon we have, it means nothing. They have shifted the balance of the galaxy itself." In human-controlled space, the warships moved with silent precision. Dark matter pulsed softly through every vessel, rippling across the fleets like an invisible heartbeat. Ships phased in and out of dimensions, gliding past council fleets without confrontation, demonstrating an effortless mastery over space itself. The shadow fleet remained hidden, omnipresent yet unseen, a constant reminder that humans had power not just over fleets, but over reality. The Galactic Council struggled to formulate a response. Discussions turned into arguments, and arguments into despair. Some species begged for alliance, hoping to survive by joining forces against humanity, while others debated retreat, abandoning colonies and systems in hopes of avoiding total annihilation. But all knew the truth: no alliance, no fleet, no weapon could withstand humans' mastery of dark matter and their strategic patience. Fleet commanders attempted coordination, trying to salvage what remained of their formations. But every move, every signal, every calculated maneuver was anticipated and countered with ease. Systems failed, engines stalled, and entire fleets experienced spatial distortions that defied physics. Pilots screamed into comms, voices breaking as their weapons misfired, shields collapsed, and gravity fluctuated uncontrollably. The galaxy had been humbled. The Valen Elder spoke again, voice steady yet heavy. This is not merely a battle. It is not merely a war. Humanity has returned as a force that transcends conflict. Their patience is their weapon. Their observation is their shield. And their power is absolute. The galaxy must bend, adapt, or perish. Ambassador Lyra, pale and trembling, added, "They have not even fought. They have not needed to." Entire fleets, armadas, civilizations, shaken to their core merely by presence, by calculation, by patient observation. This is dominance beyond comprehension. This is power that does not require aggression to command obedience. In the council chambers, holomaps displayed the subtle shifts in galactic control. Systems formerly governed by the council now fell under human observation. Outposts once thought secure were subtly influenced, communications intercepted, fleets catalogued. Humanity had not attacked openly, yet control had already shifted. The galaxy was no longer in balance. Humanity had tilted it irrevocably. Pilots, commanders, and diplomats alike began to understand the terrifying truth. Humans did not conquer through direct force, they mastered the conditions around them. They did not attack, they dictated reality. Every fleet, every maneuver, every plan the galaxy had ever devised had been rendered obsolete. Humanity's patience, strategy, and mastery of dark matter had shifted the very foundation of power. The young Corran delegate, voice barely audible, whispered, "We are no longer the masters of our own fate. They have decided how the galaxy moves, even if they do not strike. Every action, every thought, every plan we make, is already known to them." In the void, human warships glided silently, dark matter pulsing like a heartbeat, warping light and space, phasing through dimensions. The Shadow Fleet remained invisible, omnipresent, and unstoppable. The galaxy felt its presence everywhere, yet could see nothing. Entire civilizations reeled under the knowledge that humans could destroy, displace, or manipulate at will, yet chose to remain patient. The Valen Elder, voice low and steady, addressed the council one last time before adjournment. Humanity has returned. The galaxy has been tested, observed, and judged. Entire fleets have fallen, entire strategies failed, and the universe itself has bent under their mastery. The balance has shifted. We are no longer the arbiters of our destiny. Humanity is the axis upon which the galaxy now turns. Outside, fleets retreated, systems reeled, and diplomats despaired. The galaxy had witnessed the dark matter revelation, and now the aftershock had reshaped everything. The first council attack had failed, fleets had been rendered powerless, and the subtle, omnipresent influence of the humans had left the galaxy trembling in awe and terror. Somewhere, deep within the human flagship, the captain observed silently. Every movement of the council fleets had been accounted for. Every reaction had been anticipated. No fleet could survive confrontation, no strategy could succeed, no species could challenge the human patience and calculation. Humanity did not need to conquer, they already had. The galaxy had shifted, and the shift was permanent. The age of humans had begun, not with war, not with conquest, but with patience, observation, and mastery. The galaxy would never be the same again. Every mind, every fleet, every civilization understood the same undeniable truth. Humanity had returned not merely as a species, but as a force beyond comprehension, a power that would dictate the very future of the stars. The galactic shift was complete. Humanity had won, not by fighting, but by existing, by observing, and by mastering the universe itself. The galaxy could only tremble, adapt, or perish. The galaxy trembled under the shadow of humanity. Entire fleets had vanished, systems had faltered, and civilizations had been humbled. The dark matter revelation, the first council attack, and the subtle omnipresence of the Shadow Fleet had changed everything. Yet despite the devastation and awe, humans had not unleashed their full fury. They had demonstrated power, mastery, and patience, but they had not conquered. They had shown the galaxy the limits of its own arrogance, but now the choice remained theirs. The Galactic Council, reeling from the first council attack and the subsequent revelations, convened one last time in desperation. Every species, every fleet, every delegate gathered in silent fear, understanding the magnitude of what humanity represented. The holomaps displayed the human fleet as a subtle distortion, a dark heartbeat pulsing in the void, omnipresent yet unseen. The galaxy had been tested, measured, and judged. Ambassador Lyra rose, voice trembling but firm. We have seen their power. We have felt their control. We have watched entire fleets fail, systems bend, and laws of physics disobeyed. They do not fight as we know. They fight as the universe itself obeys them. And yet, they have not destroyed us. They have given us a choice, whether we understand it or not. Across the council chamber, delegates murmured in awe and fear. Scientists whispered that humanity's mastery of dark matter had rewritten the boundaries of physics. Fleet commanders, pale and trembling, realized their strategies were obsolete. Pilots had reported nausea, disorientation, and visions of impossible spatial anomalies. The galaxy had been humbled, but it had survived. And the humans had remained silent. In the void, human warships glided like shadows, dark matter pulsing softly through every hull. The shadow fleet remained hidden, omnipresent, and untouchable. It observed the galaxy, measuring reactions, cataloging weaknesses, and anticipating intentions. Humanity did not act out of malice, they acted out of calculation, patience, and understanding of what was necessary. And now, for the first time, the galaxy waited, uncertain, for the human's choice. On board the human flagship, the captain stood silently, observing the trembling fleets, the fearful delegates, and the trembling stars. Every calculation, every sensor reading, every psychic and physical signal from the galaxy had been recorded and analyzed. The humans did not speak, did not fire, did not react hastily. They had waited centuries for this moment, prepared for millennia, and now they chose not to dominate by destruction, but by decision. The council delegates watched in silence as a single message appeared across all communication channels simultaneously. It was not words as they understood them. It was a pulse, a vibration, a ripple of dark matter energy that conveyed meaning, intent, and judgment all at once. Every mind that received it felt its weight. We are patient. We are aware. We judge not by fear, but by action. We offer the galaxy a choice. Adapt, learn, and evolve, or falter under your own arrogance. Ambassador Lyra's voice shook as she whispered, "They are giving us a chance to survive. Not out of mercy, but because they choose to. Every species, every fleet, every civilization. We are here because they allow it. They are not just powerful, they are deliberate, patient, and humane in their decision." Across the void, the humans watched silently. Entire fleets remained immobilized, shattered, or displaced, yet no further attacks were launched. The galaxy realized the unthinkable. Humans had not destroyed them. Humans had demonstrated ultimate power, and yet they had chosen restraint. Their presence alone was dominance, their judgment alone was law. And the Shadow Fleet remained hidden, ready, but waiting, for the galaxy's next move. The Valen Elder spoke softly, voice resonating through the council chamber. Humanity has returned not merely as conquerors. They have returned as arbiters, observers, and teachers. They have given the galaxy a mirror to see its own arrogance, weakness, and potential. They have shown power, patience, and mastery, and yet they have not destroyed us. The choice is theirs, but the lesson is ours. Fleet commanders and delegates understood that nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Entire strategies, technologies, and philosophies had been rendered obsolete. The balance of power had shifted permanently. Humanity's presence had altered reality itself, and the galaxy would adapt or perish. Fear, awe, and respect intermingled across every civilization. In the outer voids, the dark matter warships pulsed softly, like a heartbeat of inevitability. The Shadow Fleet moved in unison, silent, precise, and eternal. Humanity had returned not for war alone, but to teach patience, strategy, and the understanding that ultimate power need not be wielded recklessly. They were a force of judgment, observation, and mastery. They had returned as the axis of the galaxy, and every species knew it. The young Corran delegate, pale and trembling, whispered to himself, "They are perfect. Not just in power, not just in strategy, but in patience. And the galaxy will never be the same." The Valen Elder nodded, silver eyes reflecting the dark matter warships. The choice is theirs. And we live because they choose it. Humanity has returned, and they have already won, not by destruction, but by presence, by awareness, by patient observation. The galaxy bows, not in fear of attack, but in awe of mastery. And somewhere deep within the flagship, the captain observed quietly. Every fleet, every system, every mind in the galaxy had been measured. The choice had been given, and humanity had made it. They had not destroyed, yet they had judged. They had not conquered, yet they had dominated. They had returned not merely to exist, but to define the limits of what the galaxy could comprehend. The galaxy, trembling and awed, realized a final, undeniable truth. Humanity had returned not as a mere species, not as conquerors, not as warriors, but as something greater. They were patience made flesh, calculation made omnipotent, judgment made absolute. And the choice of humanity, deliberate and unwavering, would echo across the stars for generations to come. The age of humans had begun, not with fire or fury, not with chaos or conquest, but with presence, patience, and mastery. Every civilization, every fleet, every mind in the galaxy understood that they were living in a new era, an era defined by humanity's decision. And as dark matter pulsed through the silent shadow fleet, gliding across the void like an invisible god, the galaxy understood that humanity's choice was final, absolute, and eternal. The stars themselves seemed to bend in acknowledgement. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never, ever be the same.